I've always been a Nintendo fan. My first experience with video games was on my father's SNES, playing Super Mario World, Street Fighter 2 and a bootleg Mortal Kombat 3. Then, when I was around 10, a friend from school introduced me to the wonderful world of emulators. He loaded up Project 64 and an Ocarina of Time ROM onto my tiny 1GB flash drive. And ooh boy, that was the moment gaming really clicked for me. I remember getting stuck in Jabba Jabba's belly and my friend Lucas drawing out instructions on a ripped notebook page to help me go through it. Later, I still remember the feeling of bringing home my first console, a Nintendo Wii.
Nice shot!
That my mom bought with Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Watching that intro cutscene, jumping into my first target map, it felt like magic. And I remember to this day. I remember finishing Twilight Princess for the 5th time and playing Wii bowling with my grandfather. Nintendo isn't just a company to me. It's tied to memories, to people I miss, and to a time that felt lighter, freer, and more magic. So yeah, Nintendo means a lot to me. And during the first years of the Switch generation, a revolutionary hybrid console, it felt like they were finally back. We were eating good. Game after game, month after month, games showcasing their best graphics yet, masterpieces dropping one after another, even little things like the Gold Points program felt like they were giving something back to the fans. But somewhere along the generation, something changed. Nintendo slowly started climbing back onto the corporate horse. After a long decline post-NES and a meteoric rise with the Wii, followed by the disaster that was the Wii U, the Switch had to be their comeback of dreams. And it was. They came out swinging, dropping massive titles one after another. And it worked. They got the public's goodwill back. They reached the top again. Hardware and software sales were through the roof. Fans were loyal and excited, throwing money at every franchise they released. Even smaller IPs like Pikmin and Luigi's Mansion were breaking sales records. And that wasn't even the ceiling. Games were crossing the 10 million mark like it was nothing. But slowly, we started seeing the cracks. $60 for a re-released port that originally cost $50. Half-baked sports games at full price. They were minor offenses at first. A few bad apples in a mostly amazing lineup. But then came more signs. Shutting down melee tournaments out of spite. The horrible states of modern Pokemon releases. And now, the Switch 2 has arrived. Everyone and their grandma was hyped with the reveal. The console looked great, but there's just one problem. Games now cost $80. And Nintendo just opened the door for every other company to do the same. The console bundle, $450 or $500 with Mario Kart World. And that was my breaking point. I've been supporting Nintendo for years, turning a blind eye to shady decisions, letting things slide because the games were good, and Nintendo have been there my whole life. But it's gotten so much harder. I already felt disgusted by how they treat their fans. The ones trying to preserve games they refuse to sell. The ones building fan projects or hosting events for other fans. And all of that, Nintendo just shuts down without hesitation. I already found it cruel how they handle Power World, acting out of spite and greed instead of fairness. But charging $80 for a game and $500 for an underpowered console, advertising original Switch games upgrades like it was the best thing ever, when it should be running that way to begin with anyways. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet finally running smoothly shouldn't be a sales point, should be the bare minimum years ago. And that shattered the illusion. I finally saw them for what they are, a company driven by greed. And honestly, they've always been this way. Not long ago, they were copyright striking YouTubers who used gameplay footage, even if it was recorded from their own legally purchased copies. The only way around it was joining the Nintendo Creators Program, a strict and exploitative system. They only loosen up once it became too damaging to their image. Even the Wii's success wasn't just innovation, it was Reggie fighting tooth and nail to bundle Wii Sports with the system, because Nintendo HQ didn't want to include it. And in a matter of fact, the Wii units wasn't shipped with Wii Sports. Back in the SNES days, Nintendo wouldn't allow third-party publishers to release their games on other platforms. And Sony? The PlayStation only exists because Nintendo screws them over, backing out of their SNES CD add-on partnership partnership at the last seconds to work with Philips instead. This pattern has always been there. When Nintendo knows fans trust them, when they know sales are guaranteed, they shift into pure corporate mode. They overcharge and rely on nostalgia to keep people hooked. And I can't accept that anymore. I've bought almost every major first-party Switch title. Some of them I haven't even played it yet. I was happy to support a company that respects its fans and delivers great products. But the second that respect fades, they start trying to squeeze every last penny from us. I'm done.
Don't call me.
For years, I rolled my eyes at people who said pirating Nintendo games was a civic duty, but after watching them hit record revenues year after year, while somehow getting more greedy and putting out more half-assed games, yeah, I'm starting to get it. And I live in Brazil. The official price for a Switch 2 game here is 440 reais, digitally, on the eShop. That's insane for two reasons. First, the minimum wage here is 1500 reais monthly. That means the one Nintendo game costs almost 30% of a person's entire monthly income. And second, $70 converts to about 391 reais. So they're charging even more, again for digital copies. No physical packaging, no logistics, no shipping, and no extreme Brazilian import taxes applied. Just pure price gouging because they can. The level of greed is sickening. I can't keep supporting a company like this. It completely tainted anything from them to me. I have zero hype or interest in Mario Kart World. Feel no desire whatsoever to play Bonanza, and not because I think those games suck. No, but this issue left such an ugly mark to me that I just don't mind Nintendo anymore. In a couple of years, perhaps, I come back and buy a Switch 2. But as we stand right now, honestly, I hope this generation flops to them. Because we've seen the story before over and over again. Every time a company has a massive hit, they get arrogant, they get greedy, they stop listening to the fans. It happens with Sony and the PS3, it happens with Microsoft and Xbox One, it happens with Nintendo and the Wii U. Only after they fall flat on their face do they start acting pro-consumer again. And as much as it pains me to say it, that's what I hope happens to Nintendo in 2025.